Hello. Let's get over to the camera here. All right. So, hey, how's it going? So, we are going to continue where I left off here with the Supremacy armor. One, I am having one concern, and the paint seems to be rubbing off fairly easy on this. And it's probably because I didn't like properly clean off the resin before putting the primer on. So hopefully once the wash goes on, that'll be enough protection to keep the paint from continuing to rub off, but we'll see. Hopefully it won't be an issue. Looked up the image of this thing, gathered it was huge. This thing is big. Oh yeah, yeah. This is the very fancy resin model for the Tau. Well, okay, it's not the Manta, but it's the next biggest thing. It is 800 points. Well, not quite. It's like 750, 780, something like that. It's almost 800 points to run this silly thing. So, it's admittedly not fantastic because of that. Like, mostly because it's like once you lose it, there's half your army gone in one model. Oh, no. The Manta is like over $2,000. It is a ridiculously huge resin kit. It's the Tau's equivalent of a Imperial Titan. Yeah, I don't even know if you could physically fit a Manta onto most table setups, just because like there would be there's not enough space between terrain to actually set the thing down, as far as I'm aware. It's very silly. But, so yeah, last time, for anyone who wasn't here, we completely finished the torso, and probably, I'm gonna say like 90% of the legs. All I've really got to do for the legs here is the metallic bits, and paint the base to get ready for the terrain dirt later. I wanted to do something fancy on the base, like just some extra details or something to make it fancier, but I couldn't think of anything that I thought would look good, so I just left it plain. I don't know. Maybe somewhere down the line I'll come up with an idea, and if it's not too late to add it, maybe I'll do that. Yeah, something I do want to show off here as soon as I finish this little bit is this didn't really occur to me until yesterday when I was moving stuff around on my desk. But again, this is just the legs, and here is the entirety of the Storm Surge. Granted, the the way I built the legs for the Supremacy armor are standing up much more straight, and the Storm Surge is like squatting a bit. So you know that's skewing the height difference a little, but still, it does make me chuckle quite a bit to realize that the Storm Surge comes up to this thing's waist. My chair got raised up again. There we go. I am, again, even if it turns out to not be that great, I am very excited to get this thing on the table eventually. Just to roll dice with it, see how it goes. Not expecting anything phenomenal, but until it dies, it'll be very fun and silly to watch it deal damage to things. Looking at the Manta datasheet, what a beast. Yeah, it's a lot. Again, it's the Tau equivalent of a Titan, so you know it's made for a much different scale of game. Which, it would be really cool to play in a game like that someday. Just for fun, just for the experience of doing it. Like, I don't think it'd be fun to do all the time, but as like a one-off thing. Like, just play in a game where people are bringing stuff like Titans and Gargants and what have you. I have a picture somewhere that a friend sent me. Like, this wasn't anything they were at in person, or it was just a picture they found online. But it was a game of 40K where I think the two sides each had at least 10 Warlord Titans, and that, again, that is just so silly that I bet that was a ton of fun. I also can't begin to imagine how long turns take with armies of that size. I'm very much looking forward to being done with the legs, so I don't have to keep holding this thing by the base, because this still makes me very uncomfortable, like I'm gonna drop it, or it's gonna, like, the contact where it's glued onto the base is gonna give out, and something's gonna break. That's just... It's probably fine, but I'm just gonna keep being nervous about it until I'm done with it. Just double checking. Something on the storm surge here. Okay. Dang it. Getting the insides of the legs here. Gonna be a little bit tricky, but I'm getting there. So, I'm not sure if I will or not. I think whether or not I do is going to depend a lot on how much I get done tonight. But depending on where I'm at with this, I might do an extra stream on Friday. Just to make some more progress on this thing, because I would like to... I do want to get it done. Like, I'm pacing myself and I'm not rushing. But if I can add an extra day to work on it, that would help me get back to normal streams a little bit quicker as well. So we'll see. Again, it's gonna depend on how close I think I am to being done after today. As much as I'd like to, I don't think there's any chance I finish today either. Like, it'd be great if I did, but I've still got both arms and the back weapons to do, not to mention some of the little stuff like the head and the guns that go on the torso. Okay, that's all the little ones. It might actually also depend on where I'm at with paint, because I am noticing that this metallic is a little bit more empty than I thought it was, and I don't remember if I got a backup the last time I stocked up on paint. I want to say oh no, I did. Never mind. I know I did. So never mind. I'm good there. So as long as there's not another color that I'm low on that I'm not realizing I am, that shouldn't be an issue. Sorry if my hand's in the way here, I just need to hold this steady and I don't really have a better way to brace it. Okay, got the one on the other side. Okay, there's those all done. I think I just have the nice blue towel. Back when I used to, Black Towel had a similar color scheme, just a bit brighter, closer to Thousand Suns blue. I think towel look amazing in blue. Thank you. Yeah, I actually I agree in that I think like a Thousand Suns blue would have just looked better overall for these. I'm going to admit to some amount of laziness in that I chose Macragge blue because it is available as a primer. And it cut out a lot of work. That's not necessarily a great reason, but it's the reason I chose. But if it hadn't been for that, I probably would have gone with a slightly different color blue. Like, yeah, either a Thousand Suns or maybe even more of like a seafoam green or something. But I am happy with how the Macragge has looked as well. It's a good reason. Yet another spot where it would have been a lot easier had I done this bit before assembling the legs. Or fully assembling them, anyway. I guess actually in hindsight, enough... Like, it's resin, not plastic, so... I don't have to worry about the plastic glue, like, melting the paint like I normally do. For, doing assembly afterwards. I guess that I really should be doing a lot more of this kind of stuff. Like painting it first and then assembling later, now that I'm really doing it. But, oh, I'm getting there either way. One thing I do need to do here is I noticed there was a little bit of the supports, or not supports, but whatever you want to call the there's a term for it, but I'm blanking what it is. The little bits of resin you gotta file off afterwards. I didn't trim earlier. There we go. I saw that yesterday, and I meant to fix it, or not yesterday. I saw it on stream on Monday, but I didn't do that. I meant to do it yesterday before stream tonight, and I just forgot. last joint here done, and then I can do a little bit of cleanup on what I messed up with the lead belcher. Alright, now... Oh, right, all the bits on the foot that I almost completely forgot to do. Okay. Those look good. This side. Actually, you know, if, I'm wondering if it'd be better... I was just thinking, once the legs are done, I can do the wash on both the legs and the torso, and then I can get that glued together. I was thinking I could do that on stream here then, but I don't... Once I glue those together, I don't want to touch this thing until it has had plenty of time to set, so... For the just so that I'm not having to move it out of my way while I keep painting after I've already put it together. Maybe, actually, I guess I could do that last. We could do that as the last thing for stream today. And then it can just sit on my desk until Friday. That might work. There we go. That one. Okay, that foot's ready. I did not do a very good job of cleaning up this side of that foot. There's still a few places where the primer didn't go on super even. Try to remember to get that after I'm done with the lead belcher here. Water here. I think this one's getting kind of dried out. That's better. Now it's going on a little bit smoother. Yeah, I had noticed I didn't do a great job of getting the primer on this thing from my first attempt. I was going to give it an extra coat before I started painting it, but the weather here has been so hot and humid lately, I just did not have the chance to do it. I mean, I guess realistically I should have just put off working on it until I did get the chance, but I don't know. I was just really excited to get started on it, and I didn't want to have to sit there looking at it partially assembled for another, like, who knows how many more weeks. So. Okay, I believe that's everything that I need to use lead belcher on here. Did I get the other side of that on the hip? Yes, okay. Now, let's go back to my black here. Spray in the heat because I'm too impatient to wait for good weather. Well, I've just run into too many issues with the weather messing with my primer, like it turning out either really like gritty and sandpapery, or in a couple cases the humidity made the primer like clump a little too much and it like melted some facial details. So I'm a little gun shy on primering in bad weather anymore because of that. I mean, part of it is also probably my own fault as well, like spraying too close or too far away, and then the weather just making it worse, but still, I just, anymore, I always just err on the side of being overly cautious. Especially when it's a kit like this that I will never have the opportunity to do another one of. I have a couple of those issues. The humidity really messes with it. Doesn't get humid much here, just dry heat. Oh, I wish. It's been between, like, I want to say 60 and 80% humidity for like the past 2 weeks here, and it's been driving me up a wall. Oh, wait, what am I doing? Not thinking about what I'm doing, that's what I'm doing. There's probably been a lot of days that I could have safely taken stuff out to spray, but again, I've ruined, like, admittedly a very small handful of miniatures doing it, but I'd rather not ruin more. Oof, yeah, at the very least, it's not been, like, over 100 for a little while, but But yeah, the temperatures that high can also be very rough, though. Alright. Do I want to do black for these? Feels weird leaving these raised up bits blue. But I don't know if I like the black better. I think it's alright. Yeah, I think I like it. Wasn't sure when I started, but getting the whole thing, yeah, I think that works. Usually fine till it gets above 115, then it's unbearable, but without humidity it's okay at 110. Yeah, I don't know, even without the humidity that still sounds pretty rough, but then I'm also just not accustomed to temperatures that high, so I guess if I was, it probably wouldn't feel so bad. But yeah, the humidity especially makes it makes even all the higher temperatures we do get here all the worse. Oh wait, hold on. Did I paint this 2 different ways? I sure did. Okay. Yeah, I should do that whole bit in black. I want them to be the same. I will be so... I know I keep going on about it, but I will be so glad when I don't have to be holding this thing by the base anymore. I'm so afraid I'm going to break something. Only time I got heat exhaustion was when I was in DC. It was like 90% humidity and 98. It's really terrible. Yeah, Yep, I am in the... I'm also in the Northeast, so it gets pretty hot and humid here too. Thankfully not usually in the 90s, but it has been off and on here, unfortunately, a lot. At least, especially this summer has been really bad. And again, the biggest frustration for that for me has just been not having good days that I can get primer on things. Alright. Oh, nope, I didn't finish getting the other foot. Gap in there. Okay, well, I don't think I'm really going to be able to get it that well, but let's see if I can't get some of this blue that I didn't reach with the other brush. Oh right, I guess I'm not entirely done with the belcher yet. I almost forgot these little bits. Well, no matter what I do, I think there's always going to be little nooks and crannies that I didn't quite cover up the blue. But I think that's good enough. Chunk of dried paint in there. Much better. Alright. Well, like I said, there's almost certainly going to be little spots here and there that... Oh, wait, never mind. Right. Before I forget, that one spot of blue that I needed to clean up, I almost forgot to do it. And I think I saw another spot that I need to touch up as well. Yeah, okay. Just need to get a little bit better of a coat of blue here. I'd like to get it down in that little groove there, hopefully without making a bunch of extra work for myself. Alright. Yeah, there definitely seems to be, like, one particular angle that I did a terrible job of covering with primer on this. But I suppose that's what I get for spraying it with primer in a poorly lit bathroom instead of outside in the sunlight where I could actually see what I'm doing. sure I didn't, like, rub off any of the black paints. Holding it there, I don't think I did. There is, like, one spot there that I didn't do a great job. It also occurs to me I should absolutely glue the magnets to the bottom of the base before I assemble the rest of the body, because I don't want to turn the whole thing upside down once the torso's on. Will be very heavy and hard to hold upright. So maybe we'll do that before I put the torso on later. Okay. Well, I think I'm confident in calling the legs basically done. Again, there's almost certainly going to be places that I could touch up, and like little crevices and whatnot that I didn't fully cover with black that have a little bit of blue in them. But I could be working on this thing like another 2 weeks and not find all those little places, so... before I do anything with a wash, let's... What a big flat brush here. What did I do with that one I had yesterday? Or not yesterday. I keep saying yesterday when I mean Monday. There it is. Let's start doing the base here now, before I do the wash, so that if I have to correct anything on the foot... Well, actually, no, let me rephrase that. When I have to correct something on the foot, I don't have to do the wash on it again. This paint might be done. Yep, it sure is. Okay. I guess I left this open. That's unfortunate. Let's see if I have another one of those. I sure hope I do. I mean, if not, it's not that big a deal. I can always do the basing later. The main body is the important bit. Let's see. What do I have for spare paints? Now y'all get to see my terrible storage solution for paint. That is not it. No, it does not look like I have a second bottle of that. That is unfortunate. Okay, well, again, that's fine. I can pick up another one later, and the basing does not have to be done for the rest of it to be finished. Although it would probably be a lot easier to do the basing before it's fully assembled, rather than after, but... How much of this do I have? It's not quite the same shade, but once the dirt texture goes on, it'll probably more or less be the same. I think it won't really matter. Okay, I think I've got enough of this. Alright. Alright, we'll use this one instead. Again, I'm just going to be covering it up with, like a texture paint anyway, so as long as it's close enough, it shouldn't really be noticeable. Bulk of this with the bigger brush here, and then I'll actually get around the feet with a normal brush. This step in particular, I really wish I could have found my little turntable. That would have been nice for this. Guess we're making a trip to Snake Eyes. Yeah! Actually, it looks like I'm going to need to replace this color as well, because this is also pretty low, and I didn't see an extra one of these in there either. So, well, good to find out what's low all at once, rather than restocking on paint and then finding out there was something else that I needed too. Might be about time to switch off to a smaller brush now. At least that cut out a lot of the bulk of it. It's nice occasionally finding uses for the bigger brushes that I inevitably have pile up from just buying cheap packs at Walmart. Alright, this one should do the job here. The brown I'm putting on the base should not matter. It's mostly just, like, realistically, I don't even really need to do this. It's just, it makes it look better when I put the dirt texture on, and if I don't put it on thick enough and you can see underneath it, it just looks better to have something appropriately colored under it rather than, like, blue. So, this not being exactly the same shade should be fine. I mean, I guess we'll find out. And if it don't match exactly with my other stuff, it doesn't actually matter. It'll just bother me. Yeah, this one is also getting pretty low and dried out, though, so... I guess, again, good to find out about it now before I restock on more paints. Another thing I could have done, if I was being smart and save myself this headache, would have been to spray primer on the legs before putting them on the base. And then I could have just sprayed the base with tan primer and not have to do this. But again, that's the things I learned by doing it. again, I joked about this a little bit last stream, but it still is endlessly funny to me that both in the way I assembled it and even in the like pictures of it on the store page for Games Workshop, the feet do not fully fit on the base. I think the only base size that would actually be big enough to fit this thing entirely would be like the oval-shaped ones they use for knights. And I'm actually kind of glad they didn't use that for this one, because I'm not sure about the other back-mounted weapons, but at least the rail cannon is so long that I would be worried about tipping it over on the oval base. So, which is probably why they didn't use an oval base. But again, I just find it funny that even officially it doesn't fit. Oh, whoops. Well, gonna have to fix all that. Yeah, I can wipe some of it up. Yeah, not really. No, it's just smearing, not wiping up. Well, I mean, that's why I didn't want to do the wash first. Also, this is where I wish I just had like a big old dunk tank of Nuln Oil to just dip this thing in and pull it back out. I don't know if that would look good, but it would certainly be faster than doing it by hand. How do you get the colors to look so matte is, or just something you're saying? I don't know. I mean, I'm just kind of painting straight out of the bottle. Like I'm thinning it out a bit. Or well, I'm not really doing the thinning. I use a wet palette, and that just by nature of how the wet palette works, puts a little bit more water and gets it less thick. But that could also be some amount of the camera just not picking up on some aspect of it. It might be just looking more matte because of the paint. I don't know. Maybe if I bring it closer, it'll. But yeah, I don't know that. Again, I'm just kind of painting straight out of the pot, with using the wet palette in between. I have noticed that after I do a wash of Nuln Oil, it does sometimes get a bit plasticky looking if I put it on too thick. But if that happens, I just kind of deal with it and don't really worry too much about it. But it has bothered me in some cases. Could be the camera as well. Also is used to seeing fully painted ones with washes on it. Yeah, yeah, it'll probably... Actually, you know what? Here, I have the Storm Surge sitting next to me that I was using as a color reference. This is probably going to look way more like shiny and plasticky than this currently does. Because this does have the wash on it. So... Alright, let's fix all my mistakes. So a little bit here. Yeah, I am definitely not skilled enough as a painter to intentionally have something, or to have the presence of mind to do things to make things intentionally look more matte or glossy or whatever. Or, well, glossy I will do intentionally, but really the only trick I have for making things look less glossy is just to, after I do the wash, just put a coat of either, oh, what's it called? Either Lamian Medium or what's the other actual, like, clear coat? Storm Shield. Good luck with the painting. Well, thank you, and have a good evening. All right, where was the other foot that I messed up? Or yeah, the other foot, the other toe that I messed up very badly. Thank you. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna need the blue here even too. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I don't know. I guess just not paying enough attention to what I was doing that I got the big glob of brown on that. Actually, hold on. Okay, I've been joking about the feet hanging off the edge. Did I ever actually paint the bottom of the feet hanging off the edge? No, I did not. Okay, let's fix that while I'm thinking about it. Again, not that anyone's ever going to see this thing once it's fully assembled. This thing will never be turned upside down again if I have anything to say about the matter. So there's probably no point in doing that, but again, it's one of those things that it'll bother me if I don't do it. Foot and on the back sides. Alright, fix the little bit of blue here that I messed up. Alright. Okay. The legs are officially done. I guess probably the best thing to do at this point would be to go ahead and do the wash on the legs and the torso. Set them aside so they can just sit. And then move on to one of the other smaller pieces. Probably want to do the guns for the torso as well, because yeah, it'll be way easier to glue those on before final assembly. So yeah, alright, let me change up my paint water, and then we will do the wash. Be right back. Alright, and we're back. It would be a complete waste of $10, but I am I have been tempted on just picking up a second one of these to fill up with water and just sit it off to the side and to swap out in the middle of stream so I don't have to get up to change the water. But that would be a little bit of a waste of money. Alright. So I'm gonna want to big brush for this. I mean, realistically, I probably actually want to use a small one, but like take my time and be a little bit more careful with it. But I'm gonna try the bigger brush here and see how it does, and then I will swap off to the smaller brush if it's doing a bad job. Actually not doing a terrible job. It's putting it on a little heavy, which again makes sense because it's big brush, but I might like maybe trim the bristles on this to be a little bit shorter. This might do the job for this kind of stuff in the future. Should probably be doing this so I don't rub any more paint off with my fingers. I am going to have to be a little bit more careful using this brush, though, that I don't let it pool up too much. Actually, you know, it might not be a terrible idea. Let's get a whole bunch on the palette there. And just mix in some water. Again, for this, I just wish I had a big dunk tank. Okay, a little bit on that foot. Some just exposed resin with no primer on it. Need to maybe touch that up later. Still not really sure if the big brush is helping or hurting me. But I guess it's looking alright. All right. Well, that is the wash on the legs. Pretty much done. Should maybe starting to pool here a little bit. Maybe see if I can save that before it looks bad. Might be too late for this spot. It looks a little bit better. Okay. Okay. Legs are done. Put that back on the shelf there. Okay, let's push you slightly out of my way. So now what would be the best way of going about this? Because I don't really have... This doesn't have a base to sit on while it dries. I guess let's start doing the top. Maybe after that, pause and let it dry until I can sit it upside down safely. And then after that, I can do the rest of it. Intending to do this part, but the wash keeps running down the side, so I don't end up with a weird line. Alright, fine. I guess I'm doing more than just the top here. Dodged that real good. Just caught it. Yeah, I was being a little sloppy here. Not letting it thicken up too much. Hopefully I can smooth that out a bit. Alright, good. That wasn't too dry to change. Water that down on the emblem a little bit more. There we go. Yep, don't like doing this. Do not like holding it like this. Alright. top is almost dry. It was a little messy with it. Places here that I didn't catch, unfortunately. Maybe it's not too late. Looks a little better, but it's gonna be a little spotty, but oh well. I never seem to be able to do a clean wash on stuff this big anyway. No matter how hard I try to. And admittedly, I'm not doing a very good job of trying to do it clean using the big brush here. Okay. A lot of this probably isn't going to matter, but just being thorough in case it does. Alright, how... Feels mostly dry. Alright. Okay, we're gonna set this down, not on the paper towel so it doesn't stick. some of this because I don't want it to pull up too bad. Yep, I did take some paint off the edge there. Okay, so still need to be very careful with this. Okay, well, I did a pretty shoddy job on a lot of the wash there, but hopefully it still turns out okay. Just kind of lightly take the brush over where my fingerprints were. Hopefully it's not noticeable. Let's get the legs out of the way here. And it might actually just be best to just let this sit for a moment. Let it dry. Don't be handling it for a few more moments. Or actually, no, you know what? I know exactly where I can put it, that it can be out of the way, and we can keep making progress. Alright. That should be good. Alright. Well, next step, I guess, will be... Let's start getting the dirt on the base here. So this is gonna take a minute. Alright, yeah, this is where I'm really gonna wish I had that turntable. Dang it. I got paint all over my hand. Okay, I probably shouldn't do that. I'm more likely to get paint on the rest of it, holding it like that. This is not a great angle, though. Maybe, what if I did this? It's precarious. I don't really like that. There we go. Alright. Let's see if this makes it a little bit easier to do it without handling it. Yeah, a little bit. Easier on my wrist anyway. Might need to step away and go wash my hands after this, just because it's gonna bother me if I don't. I do wish I had some bigger tools for doing this on larger bases, but everything else I've tried, like, it seems like the stuff wants to stick way more to whatever I'm trying to spread it around with than the base itself. Although, you know what? I actually just had an idea. What if I did it this way? What if, instead of trying to spread it around, I just use a popsicle stick as a scoop, and then use my actual tool for getting it off of there. This might be extra work for no benefit and a waste of a popsicle stick, but we'll see. Yeah, it's kind of working. And I just realized looking at the preview that none of this is visible, what I'm doing right now. As soon as I rotate it, hopefully you'll be able to see a little bit better. Which I probably should do now anyway. There we go.
Just a cage of bones, there's nothing inside. Will it always be burning down the walls? Is there a way for me to break free? I'm a shapeshifter at whose masquerade, hiding both face and mind. I'll wait for you to draw. Have no face to show. Please don't take off my mask, my disguise.
Let's rotate this back just a little so that I can get the other side of this toe here. Alright. Keep rotating. Alright, let's try the popsicle stick again here. Oh yeah, that'll do. Okay, be a little bit smarter about this time. That's better. this back a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. Alright, using the popsicle stick as a scoop, and then using my little spatula, for lack of a better term, to scrape it off, rather than trying to scrape the popsicle stick itself off on the base, has actually worked pretty darn well. I don't know why I never thought to do it that way before. Okay. Well, now that needs to dry. Alright, bear with me one moment while I wash all this very gritty texture paint off my hand. One moment. Alright, and I'm back. Oh, and I ran over my headset cable. One moment. There we go. Also, apparently knocked my mouse off my desk. Jeez. Making a mess of things. Okay. So, how's the torso coming along as far as drying? Seems okay. Alright. So, what next? You know, as long as we're waiting for this to dry, it might not be a terrible time to go ahead and stick the magnets on the bottom of this. So I wonder how many I should use on this one. You know what? I might actually just do 8 on this one, because it's gonna be heavy. And then if it still is sliding around, I can stick some more on in the center. Alright. Yeah. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. My very, very old and worn bottle of glue here. Okay, be very careful. Let's see if I can not get super glue on my fingers this time. I probably will, but let's see if maybe I get by without doing it. Oops. Well, I was afraid of that. I was afraid those spots were going to be a little too close to one another. Alright. Well. I don't think it'll matter if they're not all going the same way. Oh, you can't even see what I'm doing. There's way too much glue on here with the way it's all running over the place, but it seems like if I don't use too much glue, they don't stick. Alright, let's see. Let's get a toothpick here and try to separate these two. Come on. You're just going to be a problem, aren't you? Now, the whole... You know what? Alright. Maybe the solution here is just take both of these off. And start fresh in that corner. This is a... Don't follow my example with any of this. I am doing this terribly. There is much better methods to putting magnets on bases than what I am doing. Alright, that one's on. Alright, and that one is also on, I think. Alright, all the magnets are on. Again, despite my best efforts, I got them all on. Alright, let's get you out of the way here. And I will sit this in this box. And that should be good for the time being. Okay, hold on. Bear with me here. This is turning into much more of an ordeal than I was expecting it to. Alright, let's... Alright, these magnets are covered in glue. I will just set them off to the side for the time being until I can figure out how to deal with them. And there's probably also a non-zero amount of glue on my paper towel now. See, if I ever gave too much of the impression that I know what I'm doing, this should be the best evidence against that. Alright. Bottle doesn't even fully close anymore, but whatever. I'm, at this point, just trying to get this glue used up. Because I don't want to throw it out, because it'd be a waste. Okay, well, since some of this probably has glue on it now, let's just flip the paper towel. Some of it might still soak through the bottom, but should, at the very least, keep me from getting on my brush or anything. And, best as I can tell, I somehow did not get any glue on my fingers. I don't know how, considering how much of a mess I made of things, but I'll take it. Alright, so what time is it? 8 o'clock. Alright, we got a bit of time left. Let's see. I guess it would make the most sense to do these next, because it'll be much easier to glue these onto the torso before I stick it on the body. And also, I don't think they will take too long to do. Okay, let me get a good look at my color reference here. Is there a better picture of these? Kinda. Oops, wait, wrong thing. Let's do that. Okay. Actually, no. Let's start with the gray, actually. It is a little refreshing to be painting something this small after doing the rest of it so far. a little sloppy here, but I think it'll be overall faster to be sloppy and then clean up than to being overly careful and slow, because I'll probably have to do cleanup regardless. Yeah, sorry, I don't, my Discord is not public. I'm thinking I might just have to, I shouldn't have to, but it might be to the point that I just need to add Discord to one of the, words that the automod, blocks. Or, like, have it block any messages with Discord in them, because I feel like that is the root of so many, like, bots and scam messages that I get anymore. Like, I use Discord. It's, like, the issue is not with the app itself, it's just... boy, it sure is being used to target folks. It is funny how many of the, like, scam messages that I get on Twitch, like, are all basically the same. Like, it all boils down to, hey, I don't, like, they all have to leave right now. And it's like, what? Like, I don't get what them being short on time. I guess it's an excuse to not be present or respond to anything I say, because it is just I'm assuming it's just a bot. I don't know. At least the previous type of bot spam I was getting before seems to have more or less dried up. So I'm happy about that. was very messy on part of that there, but... Actually, you know what? Hold on, one moment. This is bothering me. There we go. Okay, that's the gray on that one done. And let's start on this. I don't know how long these little weapon bits are going to take to do, but I would love if we could get to the point that of gluing everything, like gluing the legs and torso together by the end of stream. So, other than working on this on stream, about the only thing I've been painting lately has been I've been finally getting to all of my various drone minis for the rest of my Tau. And boy, has that been just sapping every bit of enthusiasm I have for painting away. I mean, this is helping. Like, I am having a blast working on this. But the drones are just so tedious. And I have so many of them. I think it's especially annoying to do just because in most cases, I'm probably not even going to be putting them on the table. They're just clutter. An extra nuisance to move around whenever I'm doing movement and whatnot. Just in the way. But every now and then, I'll be playing against someone who, like, wants them on the table for visual clarity, and so I wanna make sure I want to make sure I can give that option if needed. I'm at least just about done with all of the, like, bulk drones that I have, like, 20 of a piece. All my gun drones, shield drones, and missile drones are done. So I think all I've got left to do at this point is some of the little, like, weird esoteric ones, like the grav inhibitor, pulse accelerator, stuff like that I've only got like one or maybe two of each at most. So that'll help once I'm done with those. And then I'm actually just about done with everything I have for Tau. And then I can finally start really chipping away at some of the other armies I've been wanting to work on. Because, like, I've got all the new Space Marine stuff from the Armageddon box that still needs painted. I'm really excited to finally start working on orcs. I have several thousand points of Chaos Space Marines that I am very excited to play and have not even started yet. So I've heck, I keep forgetting about them. I also have, like, the beginnings of an Imperial Guard army as well that just keeps getting put to the side for other projects as well. I should really start working on those one of these days. And I kept telling myself, when their codex comes out for this edition, I want to start getting into Custodes. But I don't... I really don't need to be working on another army right now, especially not with all the other stuff that's not done. So, as much as I'd like to do that, that may not get to happen. Although, one, the Custodes Codex is probably a little ways out from happening for this edition. And also, I could probably get through a Custodes army pretty quick, in all honesty. Like, just get some gold primer, and there's like 70% of the work done on every miniature. But, I am really interested in starting Custodes, because I think I've joked about this before, at least when I played, at least whenever I've talked about, like, Final Fantasy XIV, is, I am an absolute sucker for any weapon that's like a gunblade or in the realm of that. And it does occur to me that basically everything Custodes has essentially gunblades and gun spears, and why that wasn't the first army that like drew my attention, I'll never know. But now that that thought's occurred to me, I really, really want to get into Custodes. Like, I always knew how their weapons worked. It never really, like, for some reason, I just never, like, thought about it in that context. And now I definitely regret not getting into Custodes as, like, my first army. But I definitely want to now. Also, like, some of their new plastic models. Actually, you know what? No, it's good I didn't get into Custodes before, because until very recently, so much of their army was resin. So no, it's actually very good that I didn't pick them first, but now that they are finally getting so many plastic versions of their kits, now is actually probably a great time to be getting into them. Because, like, the new Contemptor Dreadnought they just got looks so good. barrels got a little bent, but that was before I even did the assembly. That was just in the I think they were just bent either in production or just sitting in a warehouse. And I guess, I don't know if I was being lazy or just in a rush, I didn't bother to fully straighten them out before assembly. I just kind of forced them into place and hoped they would just stay straight. And actually, for the most part, they did. But there are definitely a few places where they look a little warped if you look real close, but I don't think that'll be that big of an issue, especially when you're looking at like the whole, like the entire model as a whole. I don't think it'll really stick out that badly. Another little bit of resin here that I didn't properly trim. Trimmed most of it, just had a little bit of a piece hanging on there that I didn't notice before. At least it's not as bad as the rail cannon was when the baggie that the parts for that were put in was just a little too small for the length of the rail cannon, and so the two halves of it were bent very badly, and in opposite directions too. So that took a little doing to fix it. Thankfully I did fix it. It actually looks fine now, but just ran it under some hot water for a bit to get it to soften up, and then like forced it back into place while it cooled. Alright, you know what? I'm gonna do something that I almost never do when working on things, but I'm gonna make the conscious decision to not worry about a few details here, because when this thing is fully assembled, I don't even know if it's going to be possible to see some of this. So I'm going to get these little grooves here, but I am not going to worry about, well, you know what, actually, never mind. There, I got it. I got the part I was just thinking I was going to ignore, because it was way easier than I was thinking it was going to be. Yeah, never mind. Alright. But those bits I'm going to ignore. How long has it been since I said anything? Feels like a bit. Sorry, just been very focused on this. Dang it. Alright. That's pretty much all the black done on that one. too much water there. Yeah, too much. There we go. That's better. Nope, missed a spot with the gray. slowly getting there. Okay. Let's go back to the gray, start doing a little bit of cleanup. How am I doing on time here? About an hour to go? Okay. We might actually get these done in time. Okay. Too much water. Well, let's just start fresh here. There. Okay. Also, I just noticed one little thing I forgot to do on the black here. think that's good for those. All right. Okay, done with the gray. Do need to go briefly back to the black here because I noticed a couple spots I needed to touch up while doing the other. Okay. On to fixing the blue. There's one done. Did I get that part on the other one? Mostly. Alright. Oh, just about missed that. Oh, jeez. Did I even check the back of the launchers on the other one? Probably not. Alright, did I? Yes, I actually did. Okay. Surprised myself. Alright, one final step for the weapons here. Got a couple lenses on the front here that I need to put some blue on. Okay, let me go change out my paint water one more time. We'll do the wash on these. And then maybe a tiny bit of assembly before wrapping things up. So be right back. Alright, and I'm back. Alright, can use a much smaller brush for the wash on these. Alright. Let the top part of that dry. Okay, can I touch the sides of this yet? I should give it a moment. Actually, that might be okay. Do it like that. Okay. That one sits. All right. Now, just a few minor loose ends, and then I think we can maybe get something put together before the end here. Okay, so let's take the torso here. A little bit of this. Just go over all these various lights and lenses. Okay, that's everything there on the torso. Now do the same thing for, I think there's only like one spot on the legs that has any. That to do. Yeah. Now, this should be relatively dry enough. Same here. A little too thick. Let's get that. Okay. Do the same thing on the other one. Okay. Set these aside for a moment. One last thing to do on the legs here before doing the assembly, because it just seems like the kind of thing that would be easier to do now rather than later. Where's my usual brush for this? There you are. Wait, no, you're not. Where is my usual brush that I use for this? I don't know. I'll use this one. Unless... There you are. Yeah, okay. Let's take a little bit of my dark black here. And just start doing along the edge. Be much easier to do this now than after I put the top on. Almost done. Anywhere that looks like it needs to go on a little thicker? Not that I see, actually. Alright. Sometimes I gotta do a couple coats, but that one seemed to be good enough there. Okay. So, just for reference here, Again, a bulk of this was done on Monday's stream, but just as for where we're at, the torso is completely done. Wash and everything. Lens is done. Legs are now fully done. The base is done. So, let's just give you a moment for the black trim to dry. Actually, you know what will be even easier? I can go ahead and close up my wet palette here. I will sit you on it for the time being. Okay, now let's do a quick dry fitting here to make sure these still fit with the paint on. It's a little bit tighter, but it's still... Yeah, okay, it's still gonna go in. Alright, probably take a little bit of paint off, but that's fine. It should be in areas that aren't visible anyway. Now let's get my good glue. And just get a nice, good coating around here. Again, I'm sure there are many ways I could be doing this better, but come on. Alright, there's that one in. I guess I didn't dry fit this one, did I? Oh well. I'm sure it'll be fine. I said with no real reason to back that up. Other than that the other one was okay. I don't know if I ever did dry fit both of these when I was assembling in the first place. Let's hope it's alright. Okay, cool. It went in. Alright. And yeah, getting that together now. There's a bunch of those details that I was worried about that there is no reason whatsoever those will even be visible. Okay, and now for the big one. Alright, much as I'd like for this to be fully, as visible as possible to camera, I do need to be able to see what I'm doing. In fact, I need to take my magnifying glasses off because they're just going to get in my way. Alright. Now, how do I want the torso to be rotated? I guess just mostly straight on is probably good. Maybe not perfectly straight, just to give it a little bit of, if I make it perfectly straight, it'll look a little too, fake. Alright, here goes nothing. I'm really hoping that this holds super well. I'm to the point that I'm definitely overdoing it with the glue here, but I want to make sure. Because this ain't light. Alright, that's actually... I was afraid I was going to have to be, like, holding this in place so that the, like, until the glue's set up. But no, it's actually seeming to, stay on its own pretty darn well. Alright, this is almost certainly a mistake, but let's see if I can't show this off to camera. Heck yeah. Oh, I'm excited to, oops. Don't. Yeah, that's where I need to stop futzing with it. But yeah. Boy, I'm excited to get this thing fully together. Turn this back towards me again so I can, make sure I have the thing properly seated. So, let's see, what's left to do on this thing? Still gotta do the head, which will be not much at all, it's just this little piece here, so, you know, probably have that done in like 20 minutes. Oops, I'm not even holding it up to camera. Quit picking at it, yeah. Yeah, for sure, I just gotta let it sit. Problem is, from this angle, it's really hard to tell how level it is. But I think this looks pretty good, and I'm just going to leave it there. So, what have we got left? We have the head, which won't take any time at all. The arms. I went with the one of each. And the absolutely ludicrous rail cannon. Here, I'll stand it up for height. Geez, even then I'm not getting the whole thing on stream. There we go. Like, this thing is big enough for me to hold in my hand. Which will basically mount right on the shoulder here. Let's zoom the camera back out. That's not... There we go. It will mount on, like, that. Which, again, not the greatest angle, but I don't want to mess with it too much more until the glue fully sets, so... And then for the other shoulder is the missile launcher, which won't take too awful long. Just mounts like that. Again, I have a feeling this will go fairly quick. Yeah, it's really the rail cannon and the two arms are where the gun is bigger than him. Yeah! Actually, you know what? Hold on. Now that we've got the torso on the body, let's do an update on the size comparison to the Storm Surge. Very gentle. Very gentle. Very gentle. I'm having fun working on this thing. Actually, now that I am seeing it is a little... there we go. A little crooked. Supremacy armor is ludicrous. Yeah, it, Oh, I am very excited for this thing to finally hit the table. I am very tempted to... I've talked about this bit on the last stream and whatnot, and joked about it with friends. I'm really tempted to run a towel list that's just the Supremacy armor and 2 Storm Surges. Will it be good? Absolutely not. But it'll be funny. And who knows? Maybe maybe that actually does accomplish something. The storm surge out of the way here. Alright. I need to stop messing with it, but every time I look at it, it looks crooked. Alright. Yeah, alright, if it's crooked, it's staying that way. There. I think it doesn't look crooked from this angle. It's staying the way it is. I am setting it there, and I'm not touching it until Friday. Oh, it looks crooked. Oh, of course. It looks crooked on stream because the camera's tilted. If I... That's why I keep thinking it looks so crooked when I look at the preview. If I bring the camera to more of a default state, yeah, that looks fine. All right, that's what was messing with me. Okay. Well, let's bring the camera back to default here. All right. Nope, that's way too close. All right, I'll have to play with it again for next stream. So, I've got about 10 minutes left, but realistically, there's nothing I'm going to get done in 10 minutes except maybe the head, and I would rather just let this sit and not move it any further. So I think this is a very good place to stop. Don't touch it any. Also, for the longer I go, the more tempted I'm going to be to keep futzing with it, and I need to not do that. So if I call stream here, I can just leave it be. So we are going to wrap up here, and then I think I don't know that we'll finish it, but I think I am going to do I think I am going to do an extra stream on Friday to at the very least get started on the arms. I don't know if we'll finish them, because like they are fairly big on their own, but I don't know, maybe I do. Because I would like to get... The arms are the next priority, because the arms and the torso conveniently actually have little slots to magnetize them, which will, one, let me swap them out if I ever wanted to in the future, and also actually just help hold them together better. So I would like to get the arms done next so that I can just like put that all together and make sure that it's good. Make sure that like I have the right size magnets and whatnot. And I don't want to put the magnets in first because it probably wouldn't, it almost certainly wouldn't matter, but I don't want to get any paint on the magnets themselves. I don't want to do anything that could potentially weaken the bond between them even slightly, so. Yeah, thanks everyone for hanging out. Let me see here before I fully quit. Let's see here. I don't really have anyone to raid tonight. I would raid Dan Jones, but it looks like he's playing Peak, and I haven't had a chance to check out the new biome myself yet, and I don't want to spoil myself. So, I will just let y'all go. We'll be back Friday for a bonus stream of continuing to paint this monster. And then, like I said, I'm not counting on it being done on Friday, but I'm hoping that if we do an extra stream Friday, then I'll finish it next Monday. That's the hope, so. Alright, well, thank y'all for hanging out, and have a good night. I'll see y'all Friday. Good night.